I just watched a video called Proof for Existence of God. It's by a guy named Gospel of Jesus Christ. The argument that he makes in the video is basically, if I told you that I know a guy by the name of John Peterson, that you would believe me that he exists. And so if I tell you that Jesus really exists or God really exists, then you should believe me in that as well. It's not a very good argument, and the reason it's not a very good argument is I can make the assumption that John Peterson exists and that you're not lying at zero cost to myself. Judging by your accent, I'd say you're from somewhere around the southern part of Africa. If that's the case, then okay, buddy. I can certainly make the assumption that John Peterson exists, and it's not a problem at all to me. I can live the rest of my life without ever actually knowing whether John Peterson exists. But the moment you tell me Jesus exists, I'm required to do certain things. For one, it's going to cost me 10% of my income for the rest of my life. It's going to cost me my Sunday mornings or Saturday evenings or whatever point I decide to go to church. When I was going to church, we went twice on Sunday and once on Wednesday. So, you know, that's basically an entire Sunday as well as my Wednesday evening that I've got to give up to go sing about how wonderful this person is. Basically, you've not only stated that there is a God, but that he has specific attributes that while I would disagree that God actually is loving, just, and kind, etc. Like I said, I don't want to get into that aspect of it at the moment. But, you know, the point is, you're stating these things without providing any evidence, and in the case of one of them, it's completely harmless for me to make the assumption. Whereas in the case of just taking you at face value that God exists, is not only costly to me, without evidence that I'm going to get a return on it. Basically, it's no different than me handing you $100 and expecting that it's going to go to a good cause without really knowing, and without getting any portion of my money back. And then, of course, you go into the old faith thing. You quote the scripture, I believe it's in Hebrews. Faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. That's not the case. Faith is not substance. Faith is a belief unfounded by evidence. That's all it is. If I have a belief that the moon is made of cheese, that's faith, because I have no evidence that the moon is made of cheese. Moreover, faith is not evidence, because simply me believing that the moon is made of cheese does not actually convert the moon to cheese. And in fact, when two people have faith in opposing ideas, which one of them actually has evidence? As you state, faith is the evidence of things not seen. If I have faith that Buddhism is the right religion, does that make Buddhism the right religion? Because according to you, my belief in Buddhism, my faith in Buddhism, is evidence of what I believe. Since that's obviously not the case, then your claim is false. Faith thing. You cut it back to faith, and that's what really gets me, is that you say, I have proof of God if you have faith. That's known as a confirmation bias. The reason that people can't find proof of God without faith is that the proof isn't there. The moment you look at the world through eyes of faith, and you put on your rose-colored glasses, and you go around and everything's rosy, that's exactly how it works. The moment you have faith that God exists, the moment you make the pre-assumption that God exists, then any time you get into a question of You know, what could it be? Any difficult questions about how that happened, where'd that come from, those sorts of things. Rather than investigating the question, you fall back on your position of, well, then God must have done it. And of course, the moment that you have that faith, which gives you the ability to accept God must have done it as an answer, you put that answer into place, automatically accept it based on faith, and, well, there you go. I have evidence, but you don't. You have faith, and you have a question that you're now too lazy to answer. So, basically, my question for you, Gospel of Jesus Christ, is what makes faith so important, so great, so much greater than evidence and critical thinking, that God would put that above any other supposed virtue, while at the same time He's given us curious minds. He's given us the desire and the need to to question things and to come out at an acceptable, reasonable answer, and then turn around and say, you can't use those abilities when it comes to me personally. Everything else I want you to, but when it comes to me, when it comes to Jesus, no. You've got to believe without any evidence, and if not, you're going to burn for eternity. How is that loving? How is that just? And why is faith such a wonderful thing?
Jesus